And joining me exclusively on NDTV, Senior Advocate Mahesh Jethmalani, also a Senior Member of Parliament. Thanks very much, sir, for being with us. You have called Hindenburg 2.0, as it were, a damn squib and an attempt to destabilize the markets.
Yes, it is, because there's nothing new at all. There's a regurgitation of the old allegations, right, which have been discredited in the Supreme Court and dismissed by the Supreme Court, right? If you see the first two paragraphs are based on some money laundering of some over-invoicing of import equipment which has been imported into India and overvalued. Now, if that matter was based on a DRI initial report, right? The matter was considered by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said the DRI final report has exonerated any over-invoicing on the part of the Adani group. The matter went to the CSTAT, the appellate tribunal from the Commissioner of Customs. They have also dismissed it. It's been to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court dismissed it. And they tried to rehash it before the Supreme Court in this SEBI inquiry matter, which was finally dismissed again. And the Supreme Court said that the material which you are relying upon is all either old, stale, which has been considered and dismissed, right? Or it is based on third-party organizations with no credibility and no corroboration by anybody.
In fact, you also made an important point in your post that it's in fact the short seller, Hindenburg, which is in the dog, given the fact that SEBI had sent a notice to Hindenburg, and instead of responding to the notice, it's come up with a new report, which as many call a hit job, and also the fact that it lacks intellectual rigor, as top economists put it.
It's a lightweight. I mean, this is not worthy of any reputed research analyst. This is a complete speculative job. I mean, it's based on complete innuendo and a flight of imagination. To do this, first of all, SEBI was directed by the Supreme Court to find out that in view of the massive retailer investor loss caused by the short sale episode, whether there was any violation of Indian law. Pursuant to that, it issued this notice to Hindenburg to ask the circumstances of the short sale and find out if it could detect any illegality. I mean, one obvious illegality was that Hindenburg itself was not allowed to do this kind of thing because it was not a research analyst registered with SEBI. It couldn't do it, right? But it did so anyway. That's a flagrant violation. Instead of replying to all these things, they started targeting SEBI. They started targeting the chairperson of SEBI, Mrs. Buch. So they ran away from the question. They then dodged the questions. And they did a straight attack, the kind of thing which you have in the Supreme Court by a certain group of people, led by a certain group of lawyers who every time they lose start casting aspersion on the credibility of the bench. So this is what they've done now. Now, when you have nothing to say on merits and facts, you attack the umpire. In this case, SEBI.
Yes, in fact, that's an important point because earlier it was a business conglomerate that was being targeted, and now you have a person holding an important office being attacked without, any facts, without a watertight case.
You see, this is most unfortunate, and we can't let these foreign people who are, these foreign profiteers, if I may call them that, right? They are foreign profiteers sitting in safe harbors like America, right? They do that, and under that protection, they say all kinds of things and rock our markets. This is an attack on, it was actually, both the reports have been around the time of the budget, the first of 23 and of 2024. It is, they are the puppets of people behind them. And as we know, the first short sale, the ultimate interest in that short sale was a Chinese American national who was being investigated for espionage by the US Congress, Anla Cheng.
Right.
So there's much more to this than meets the eye, but we have to wait. As regards the Buches, right? We have to wait and see. They've given a generic statement today, a broad statement.
Yes.
They promised a more detailed statement, and I'm looking forward to it because prima facie, from the allegations, I mean, I'm not holding a brief for the regulator, right? I'm not. I'm taking a very objective view, but prima facie, what I've seen from the allegations by Hindenburg against Mrs. Buch, it is pure rubbish and trash. Yes. It is not worthy, as I said, of a so-called reputed research analyst.
In fact, you go on to the extent of saying that the government must act against these anti-nationals or anti-India elements. So you, in a sense, as saying or reiterating what you've said earlier as well, that this is part of a larger conspiracy.
It's certainly a part, as I gave you the background already. Who were the real principals behind the short sale? A Chinese spy in America, and nobody has denied it. Everybody who was involved in the transaction, they all say, "Oh, we didn't know that there was a Chinese spy involved in it." I mean, it is Hindenburg itself which gave the name of Mike Kingdon. He and his trust fund. You mean to say he knew the husband, but he didn't know the wife was a joint holder in the trust fund? And La Cheng. He is completely suppressed. Was he a Chinese stooge? At least let him come. But SEBI must ask him that.
So,
SEBI must also ask him that. SEBI must now also follow the Supreme Court mandate, right, of seeing whether the retail investor loss constituted any violation of Indian law.
in fact, in its statement, the SEBI chief has said that whatever disclosures were required were furnished before the market regulator.
That is as far as they're talking about their own disclosures. Their own disclosures have already been made prior to their appointment, prior to Mrs. Buch's appointment, either as a whole-time director or then as the chairman of SEBI. And it seems to be completely clean. I think she's been completely transparent. The husband and she have been completely transparent. Prima facie, I'm inclined to accept their view. Let us see the more detailed statement and let's see what else Hindenburg and his many allies, both abroad and in India, including Parliament, right? What they have to say.
Right. So, of course, that is perhaps in the realm of investigation. But my last question to you, Mr. Jethmalani, as you say in your post as well, that this reeks of colonial arrogance of days bygone. So, perhaps this is a larger attempt, as you say, to destabilize the markets and also to target the Indian economy, which has been sort of the bright spot, so to speak, as far as the IMF is concerned and many other global organizations.
Well, no longer are the Indian capital markets to be taken as lightweight. They've been resilient in the face of this attack. They have recovered whatever losses the short sale caused, right? And that is probably troubling a lot of the financial risk kids that operate out of Wall Street.
Okay. Mr. Jethmalani, thanks so much for joining us on this story that we're tracking very, very closely.